So once again, I repeat myself, please read the Bible, especially before coming to Sunday Mass, read the readings, because not everything in the Bible is going to speak to us, of course not. But these readings chosen for the Sundays are especially potent, especially if you look for a little deeper meaning. And I already gave away all my thoughts in the beginning. In the book of the prophet Jeremiah, King Zedekiah, he was king of Jerusalem before and during the destruction by the Babylonians in 587. And he was very weak-willed. And I said already, when one official said throw Jeremiah in a cistern, he did it. When somebody said take him out, he took him out. What about us? Here we gather weekly for this 1 hour of intense prayer, where we say we're going to live our lives according to the teachings of Jesus. But do we live like that the rest of the week? We live in such a polarized society. All the differences of opinions about politics and values and lifestyle and our culture and race and ethnicity, even within our own homes. But is our philosophy out there peace at any price? Do we vacillate from what we profess here? Or is what we profess here not authentic? That we just kind of go through the motions. That's the challenge. And then Jeremiah was thrown into the cistern and he sunk in the mud. And remember, the deeper meaning is not just physical mud. That we have mud in our lives. Maybe some of you are sinking right now in mud. Trials, tribulations of life. And you know that mud is not easy to wash off. You just can't wash it. You have to scrub it, especially with a certain kind of soap. I did a little research this week on soap. Kind of a side note that I ran into. Do you know that a lot of people have trouble with weight gain? You know why? Because most people shampoo their hair in the shower. And the soap runs down over their body. Look at your shampoo bottle. Use this for extra weight and volume. You have to shampoo your hair with Dawn because it removes fat. That's mud. It needs to be scrubbed with a detergent that will break down the oily substance in it. That's the same as our personal problems and tribulations. They have to be scrubbed to get rid of them. Temptation or sin or whatever. I'm sure you get the idea. And then life, in the second reading, Hebrews, life is a journey. It's a race. And we're headed toward Christ, toward eternal life. And I've said so often, I don't think a lot changes when we physically die. Of course, we give up our physical bodies. But our relationship with God, I don't think magically changes. I believe in the next life, we're going to be as close to God as we are now. Because we run the race toward Christ. And if you ever talk to any marathon runners, they're very concerned about the physical weight of their clothing, because they have to lift it every step. If their clothing weighs an extra ounce, every step they have to carry that extra ounce. So after 16 steps, they're carrying an extra pound. And those of you who are mathematicians can figure out what that weight would be after 26 plus miles. Well, that's life. A lot of us are carrying extra weight. I'm not talking physically, but emotionally and spiritually and psychologically, whatever. We're carrying extra weight, and we have to get rid of it so we can run the race, which is the race of God's love. Unselfish love for others. And that's the baptism Jesus was talking about in the gospel. Baptism is not a ceremony. We were taught that in life as Catholics we should get our card punched. Baptism, first confession, confirmation, marriage, so on. And the more we get punched when we get to the pearly gates, the easier chance we get in. It's not magic. The ceremony is not baptism. It's the beginning of baptism. That's what Jesus says in the gospel. Every funeral mass begins by recalling the person's baptism. And I quote this verse every funeral. Jesus said, I have a baptism with which to be baptized, and what stress I'm under until it is completed. There it is. Jesus' baptism wasn't finished until there, when he gave the last breath to the Father. Same with us. We're not baptized yet completely. Hopefully we're on the road to complete our baptism. So the examination for us today is, where are we? Have you ever made a decision specifically because you are a disciple of Jesus? Just because you were a disciple of Jesus, did you make a decision on what to do or what not to do? Even if it went against the grain of the modern popular opinion.